All right, so I am back at it. Listening to this podcast, I just could not help myself. The title is Why Do Black Athletes Always Date White Women? Preference, Proximity, or Power, and Power. And it's, I believe, I don't want to call it a silly question. I think the silly part is if you don't care about race, why do you ask racial questions? Do you know what I mean? So if somebody loves whoever and you're okay with love being love, then why are you, you know, why are you, I don't know, making that statement? It's just an observation. Uh, I've heard it said, we are not white and black. We are just shades of wheat. Everybody's a certain shade of wheat. And so leave it alone. Okay. So naturally, I'm inclined to speak on it, and I'm going to try a new format where I write what I'm saying and thinking as it goes along, and we'll just see how this goes. Now, first off, I'm just going to say this lady talks so fast, I had to slow it down to point 0.8 to be able to understand what she's saying, because it's really, really off the charts to me. Like, I understand she's professional and articulate, and I respect that. But for me, it's just a little much. So we're going to kind of tap into this about 3 minutes in, and I didn't get very far before I couldn't hold my tongue anymore. So I'm going to give it a go, and let's just see what happens, see how this works out.
Color, shapes, and sizes, but for the purposes of this argument, let's zero in on the black ones and the white ones.
So she's made a bracket.
These young women come into college and
she's made a bracket of faces of females on the left and faces of males on the right. The males on the right are athletes, top prospects, or whatever, fighting for the number one spot in a bracket, and the females are women, black and white, in each seed. So they face off black and white with no real reason why one would win or lose except for the fact that she's white, apparently, is how this bracket goes along. But let's keep listening.
Tradition would have it, the men swarm. But what is it that takes a girl from dating the cafeteria dish boy to dating the most promising recruit of the season? Let's find out.
That question irks me just slightly. It is hypergamy, factually, but women have this look. You look down on a dude that's hustling through high school or college, working at the cafeteria, a decent man that's going to learn a good work ethic, because you need to find a D1 athlete that's going to make you rich when you have his baby, and also complain about the highs are very high, but the lows are very low. Okay, so you want to be on this wave of experience, and I've learned this about women, that you need to have a wave of experience of both the highs and the lows in order for you to stay entertained. And that sounds crazy, but it is absolutely true. So rather than dating a guy who's got a good work ethic, that's going to hustle his way to pay for his own school and bills and get his education and then graduate and find a decent job, you'd rather date a guy who's going to not go to class, have somebody do his homework for him, go to the draft early, make his first million before he turns 21. But along with that, have all of the issues that you see in this type of person, in this type of kid's lifestyle. And nobody's raising their hand for cafeteria boy, who's going to be the type of man you want, because he doesn't make the type of money you want, basically, is what that comes down to. Flat out, is the money and the status. Women are drawn to the money and the status in the relationship, not the person on the other side, because these D1 athletes could be just the biggest headache. Pro athletes are the biggest headache to be in a relationship with. And you choose that over a solid dude because there's money and status involved. That's the truth of it, okay?
First of all, Black women are the most educated racial gender group in terms of college degree attainment. They hold a larger share of bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, and doctorates than any other race gender group in the United States. So as one would have it, when they get to college, it's clear that they mean business.
I love this idea here at 317 that black women are the highest educated. That's beautiful. Also a racial characteristic, but that's great. Now here's the problem. You are using this as in terms of why they should be a better fit for a partner. And that is a one side of the coin. Okay, so men do not care about this. If I've got it, then it doesn't matter if you have it or not because I'm going to provide for you. And that's just what it is. And only thing that comes out of this typically is a battle for control, as in to prove that you are as smart as me. And leadership isn't about being the smartest person in the room. We all know that. But it is about being responsible for whatever happens on your team. Okay? So your goal of knocking out this dream idea of a education and a lifestyle and a house and a dog and kids and a car and everything and having everything financially set, it's like you're building that dream that you want, and then you're on the highway of life, and that exit would be, hey, right here, you get off on this exit and find that man, but you're going to keep going on the independent highway. That's short for independent. The independent highway until you get the dream locked in by yourself. So once you get off the exit, you're going to have your own house and car and everything built. And then you're going to go looking for a man, and the men are way back here. And you're wondering, why don't they fit what I need now? And we're going to get into that later. But basically, what I'm saying is, as you say, when you come into college, black women, you about business. And I'm saying, what business is that? Is that the business of, as you say, securing this dream of yours by yourself and then wondering who's else going to help you hold it up? Because your dream is not his dream. His dream may be to make your dream come true, but if you already have it, then what do you need him for? So if you don't need him, then why are you asking him to want you? It's not going to add up. And that's the problem in this viewpoint that I see, is that you are using accolades that you require from a man as a reason why a man should like you. Nothing against education. It just doesn't register high on the list of what we need in a woman. Because if you don't have an education, I'm still going to love you. And I still will provide for you based on the level of peace that you bring, or don't disrupt, better yet. It's not that you bring me peace. It's just that you don't disrupt my peace in the way you move or in the way that you learn, in the way that you grow. You try to get better and better at respecting me and learning who I am so that I can seek out the things that you dream and want. Okay, so let's just keep going with that.
Therefore, school choice within itself can be a deterrent from the start. That D1 university may have the coin, but does it have the degree program they're looking for? Are they giving out scholarships for their field of study? Then premier HBCUs, on the other hand, got a reputation.
So in this statement, and it's like every time she makes a statement, I have a rebuttal. It's not to be argumentative, but it's to open the eyes to the fact that you are going to a HBCU, what do you say? HBCU versus D1 school. And so your issue is the D1 school has the sports that get pro athletes, and you have the culture and the scholarships and the black women's programs and all that stuff she's listing. So you can't get these programs if you go to a D1 school, and you can't get the field of study that you're looking for may not be in D1 schools. Of course, there's some obscure field of study that men aren't into. So it's not like it's, and this is the issue with the workforce, is you're going to do an obscure study at a HBCU about plants that grow south of the equator underground in the wintertime, or so, you know what I mean? It's not like because you can get an engineering degree at a D1 school. You can get, major, what do you call it, STEM degrees at a D1 school, but that's not what you're going to school for. You're going to school to get paid for some obscure thing that that's why you're doing that, or whatever. I'm guessing, I'm assuming, but all I'm saying is If it's the field of study is the reason why you don't go to a D1 school, or if it's the scholarships, that is your choice. Okay. Now, what I'm getting at here in this, give me just a second here. What I'm getting at is, how do I do this? There we go. What I'm getting at here is you make the choice, okay? It is always your choice, okay? Now, here's the problem with that. Here you are, 21 years old, or no, you're 19 or 18 going into college. You are learning to choose yourself. You are learning not to sacrifice what you want for what you need, okay? Or vice versa. So, you know what kind of man you want. You want a man that can give you that money and status in your future life so that you can have a better lifestyle. That's pretty much what it seems to come down to. But rather than sacrificing what you really desire, you're going to put yourself over first, and you're going to go to a D1 school in the field that you need to get to so that you can get your education so you can stand alone without help, which is great. I'm all for that. That is your choice. But if you are standing alone, what do you need a man for? You need him for auxiliary support. An auxiliary man works at Walmart. An auxiliary man asks permission to pee with the toilet seat down, okay? An auxiliary man gets told what to do. An auxiliary man is also unattractive to you. So you don't have the deductive skills to know that you are building a life that won't fit a leader as a man, and then wondering where are the leaders at. You've narrowed down the pack to 0.001% of men that will fit what you want, and that's totally okay. But then you have to be what he wants still. When you choose the man you want, whatever percentage of a men that are out there that fit your bill, you still have to be what they want. And what are they getting? They're getting a woman who chooses herself over her family, over her relational goals. And that is absolutely okay for you to do that. But it's absolutely okay for that to mean that this leader doesn't want you as a follower, because you aren't following when you try to take every choice and take the steering wheel on them. Okay, that's a steering wheel. Yeah, whatever. So that is it. It's the mindset of sacrifice that you are lacking. If you are going to college, if you're going to college to build a life, to do all this stuff, and to never sacrifice and get everything you want, you're going to fail. It's just not going to work out. You can't have your cake and eat it too. And we aren't telling little girls this. So here you are, not willing to sacrifice anything because you've got a dream and you're on the highway to be an independent. That's independent again. Okay? And so you're on this highway. You're not sacrificing that dream for no man, especially not no broke man in college. Now, I understand that. But if you sacrificed it for that D1 athlete, he would fast track you to the house and the cars and the status that you want. But then you say that's not what you want. You want to be independent. You want to be able to stand alone. Okay. So now once you can stand alone, you don't need a man, arguably. Or is that false? Okay. And this is where you make these choices without looking out at other people's lives and understanding, or asking people. Don't ask women what men want. Ask men what men want. And when they tell you what they want, believe them. Okay? Because they're telling you. No code. Okay? But you want to be chosen by men in the top 0.001%, but you aren't bringing anything sacrificial. In fact, you choose yourself, you applaud yourself, you put yourself on a pedestal, and then you want the most elite men to bow down to you and look at you like a sacred jewel. And that's on the highest extreme. Are you, the woman listening to this, and you know, a valedictorian, Ivy League, 200K a year, whatever, you know what I mean? Like that level of person that wants to garner a relationship with a person like this top 1%, these guys are marrying to keep the family name alive. The family comes first, the legacy comes first. They're sacrificing all the things they could be doing crazily when they get married, okay? But why would they marry somebody who isn't on the same wavelength of legacy, of getting into something, letting go of everything that you had and cleaving to, like the Bible says, leave and cleave, okay? Leave and cleave to the man, okay? So without that sacrificial mindset, because without a doubt, when men get married, they sacrifice more than women. I'm never gonna. They're at risk of sacrificing more than women, on record, over and over and over again. Okay, so in the history of time, okay, you sacrifice your body. Technically, I guess you sacrifice some freedoms, but we sacrifice our futures to get married. And you get married with the idea of, I'm going to be taken care of. Even if it doesn't work out, I've got alimony, I've got child support, I've got some settlements in court. That's just the way the system's set up. So we are the ones that stand to lose by getting married. So we're not going to marry somebody who isn't sacrificial, who isn't able to change what she thinks it's about to what we think it's about. That's where that comes from. That's how men choose a partner. Now, here we are talking about how women choose a partner, and that's absolutely okay. Men make choices too, though, and you can't fault us for not choosing like you because we aren't women, okay? I've beat that dead horse for far too long. Here we go.
Academic standards, legacy, cultural values, acceleration programs geared for Black women, and not to mention a little something nice to look at on campus that's probably on the same type of time as you. Wait, HBCUs have sports programs too? Are they good ones? I didn't think so. The Black men at HBCUs are far more likely to be focused on academics and careers outside of the sports industry. So moving on.
Beautiful point. As she says, Black men at HBCUs are more focused on things besides sports as a career versus the D1 schools where it's there to be a sport and become a pro. And she's, side eyes and smirks and says, moving on, as you've already made your choice. Here's what you're comparing. Say this guy gets a high-paying tech job, career, and he starts netting $300,000 by year 5. He's not a finished project. He got 5 years till he gets there. Or you take this D1 guy who signs a draft pick number 1 and signs a, say he gets $5 million right off the head, okay? For being number 1 overall in the draft pick. I don't know what it is, okay? You are crying because 300,000, earning up to 300,000, knowing what it takes, the type of character it takes to go and grind for 5 years and make yourself into something, versus this guy here that makes $5 million at 21 years old. And you have the vision she has is all like, this is the one, not this guy. And that's crazy. Okay, what else do you get with that? You get, for sure, you for sure, some form of polygamy here. That's guaranteed. D pick number 1, for sure he's got hoes, okay? She's still over here. This is the only upside, is the money and the status. The downside is that. The downside is traveling all the time. The downside is, what else? There's a certain attitude you have to be in pro sports, to believe in yourself, that, and the things you got to sacrifice, including time with the family and the babies and everything else. So you're going to be doing Thanksgiving Day with him playing football on Thanksgiving Day. That means you're going to have to do it all alone and wait for him to fly back from the East Coast back home, okay? Whereas here, you're more likely to find a guy that is either monogamous or trying to be, which he might still fail, but he's more about the regular dynamic, the regular family dynamic, the traditional family dynamic, making a name for himself, making his parents proud, making a legacy in a bank or tech or whatever. He probably comes home every night because he works where he lives. He might have business travel, maybe, maybe not. He might work. He might even work mobily or from home. You know what I'm saying? Mobily or whatever, remote. He might even work remotely. Okay. His attitude is a hustler and a grinder. He's gonna put his trajectory up front because you can't provide for a family if you aren't making money. But it's all for the sake of providing for the family. Okay. Uh, he's going to make different sacrifices. He might not have abs, or I don't know. It depends on who you pick. And you got to pick a guy that knows how to mow the lawn. You got to pick a guy that's handy. You know, if that's something that you want in a partner. But at 300,000, he might just get a maid and house help. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Okay, so she is all about this in this video, and it's like this is the guy I want. The only plus of this is the upfront money and status. Everything else about this dude doesn't rank up to what you actually want in a relationship, which is crazy to me. But why pick a dude from HBCU? Cool. Not to, yeah, whatever. Continuing on.
Whatever the case is, the choice to stick to their skin folk already knocks a few black women off the board. On the other hand, you have our prospective NBA draft pick, who, if he's an NBA draft pick, likely chose this life a long time ago, because ball is life. He's tall, dark, and handsome, and
This draft, you see it. I'll put the video in this freaking. How she eliminates women in this thing doesn't make sense. Okay, and now she's saying that the D1 pick is like tall, dark, and handsome. He's probably ugly. If you consider without money how ugly people are in pro sports, he's tall, dark, and rich, or potentially rich, is what you're trying to say.
unlike the black women in the first bracket, that D1 university has everything that he needs. By his junior year of high school, his coach was already breeding him to be the top player at his state school. So while he may miss out on the swag surfing and pretending to know all the words to dreams and nightmares at some random block party on the quad on a Wednesday night, he sleeps good, knowing those checks are always gonna clear. Next up for my ladies still in the running, there's the question of what exactly everybody came to college for. Yes, everyone is ultimately here for an education, please. But to make it to the top of the BEG draft, you have to be focused on your man too. According to TikTok, many young white women are groomed to prioritize getting that ring before spring when they go to school.
According to TikTok, isn't necessarily a reliable source, I would say. But if these women are groomed to get that ring, then it's up to us to find out who or why or what their motives are, okay? But if you are not groomed to get that ring, but you're groomed to get that bag and set yourself up, then go about it. Men want women who want them and will prove it with their actions. How is that such a crazy concept? I don't know. But your motives to get that ring are what young men, especially young athletes, need to figure out. Don't just marry somebody just because she's faking like she loves you. But if you do, then you bought it. You got to pay for it. But nobody feels bad when that happens. It is what it is. If you be an idiot about it, then that's what you earn. On the same token, for you women, when you come around and you don't think it's okay to be groomed towards trying to be a wife, which is what it comes down to, serving, sacrificing. None of that sounds good to you, young black women. None of that sounds good. So why do you even want that? You don't even want to be a wife, but you want somebody to choose you like the apple of the eye. Apparently, according to TikTok, white women are groomed to get a ring before spring. They already know. Got to get this ring, got to get locked in with this dude, got to make something out of it. Now, you find that women in general, especially women that are trying to be with you, are to some point very malleable. I think I spelled that right. The problem is you're trying to get married to a boy who doesn't have communication skills and doesn't have logic or experience. So that's where you get the heartbreak and you get the scars. And typically, those wives, they usually are making their own clubs and own plans to figure out how to protect themselves when inevitably they find that their husband has a girlfriend or a cheerleader that he's smashing on the side while they're away on their away games, okay? So you're really just leading people in the wrong direction by telling them, don't chase a ring, don't chase becoming a wife, chase yourself, and then men will want you once you're established. That is not the way it works. If you want to know what men want, again, ask men. And you don't even want to hear that because you're so sure here in your 40s that you're doing it right, that you think that any man that doesn't want you just can't handle you, versus perhaps you don't have the attributes. You're not sacrificial. You're not listening. You're not learning. You're not growing. You're not doing whatever it is. And therefore, he doesn't desire to commit to you. That's all that is.
On the other hand, some of the black women left have bigger fish to fry due to several socioeconomic factors, due to, well, racism. They're at college for upward mobility, to carry grandma and them bills on their back when they get out. A man would be nice, but a check would be better. So,
point exactly. Black women say a man would be nice, but a check would be better. That is your mindset. You don't see any problem with that. And I'm not here to tell you that it's wrong. It's just not a winning equation to get a black man who's been around it, who's heard it, who grew up with his mom and his sisters and his aunts and them saying it all the time. He's smart enough to understand, well, I know what that's about. I listen to enough rap music. I know what the culture's about. So do I want to find some grimy chick who's going to thug out and go wild on me and call me names and combative with me when I finally make my first million? Or do I want to chill down with a nice, pretty little quiet thing that's just grateful that I'm here? How hard is that choice for men? It's not hard at all, okay? But continue.
that knocks a few black women off the board as well. Meanwhile, I see our star athlete is cruising right along because for him, he's already accepted the fact that he's going to be carrying his family on his back. He was conditioned into that mindset long ago, except for he's a man, so that's okay. So unlike the black women.
Beautiful point. Women do not want to carry the load of mom and dad and house and car and financial bills and student loans and this and that and that. Women do not want to carry that load. Men do. This is what we're here for. And all we want in return is appreciation, nudity, and peace. Okay? It's real simple. Let me see if I can make it into it. Appreciation, nudity, and peace. Apnoop. Okay? That's what we want. We want apnoop. Make that into a thing. Okay? And that is a lot to ask of a woman, apparently. So, that's where we're at with that.
Who may be stressed and pressed trying to make a bag and bring it back home, he's been getting called the man nonstop since he even got recruited. So yeah, he hasn't even noticed the black girls dropping out of his dating pool.
There's nothing worse than starting your day with a blocked nose. With just one spray, Ultravent's moisturizing formula unblocks your nose in just 2 minutes. Consult a doctor or pharmacist before use. Ultravent, and breathe.
But that might not even matter for the black girls that we have left, because now that you've even made it into the same dating pool as him, you now have to be prepared for what it's like to date an athlete. Because while the black girl's trying to play for his heart like Sinai, he might just be trying to play them for their services. He has a...
So the script changes here, and now all of a sudden, the black girl in the narrative is playing for his heart, and he, whatever. The black girl is playing for his heart, and the athlete is just looking for services, okay? So in the beginning, the narrative was not 2 minutes ago that white women are groomed to get the ring by spring, and black women think money is better than a man, right? Now, here, just after the commercial break, the black girl is playing for his heart, and he's just here to get services. Okay, and I'm not necessarily coming against this because he is 18, 19, 20 years old, working his butt off to try to be something. And in his free time, what does he want? A little something, something. That's him. He's a boy, and that's what he wants, and that's what's being offered to him. So it's not like he can't get both of these from somebody. It's just the way she sees it, she's either getting his heart or giving him services. And that's not how we see it. That's not how men see it, okay? So you, as a woman, make that choice. And I'm not telling you to give a man your body at 18. I'm not saying that at all. I think that's a terrible idea. But what I'm saying is own it if that's where you're at with it. If you don't want to do that, don't do it. But then don't get mad that somebody else will. He's clearly not the man for you if he's only in it for services, okay? And why would you render services again? It's because you know it comes with guaranteed money and status. So who's really selling what? Okay? We already know he's making money. Why would you be giving these services if you don't think that that's the type of relationship you want? Okay, but let's continue.
Away games. He's sore. He needs help with homework in the class he's only been to once this semester. Why? Because basketball comes first. And he needs a woman who is willing to take care of all of that for his sake.
Yes, a man has needs, and apparently that's comedic. But yes, men and boys have needs too. And they don't look like women's needs, because then we would be women. We are men. We need the other thing, okay? This is us. This is you, okay? We are men. We need something that we don't have. So we're not getting into relationships to find somebody that's strong enough to protect us at night or make us feel secure in the house or buy us a new car or now. So this is the funny thing is when you are dating a dude that's dating you for financial purposes and trying to get things out of you just as gifts, not like investment wise, but like gifts, you're dating a girl. Men don't come into relationships to extract. Okay, real men, and I'm calling them out, you know. Real men don't come into relationships to extract from women. Okay, so if you are with a man who is extracting from you constantly, not borrowing, but like extracting, he's not yet a man. Okay, but yes, men's needs are opposite than women's needs, and clearly this host thinks that's silly.
Now you just heard me say that the black women left are there for better opportunities in the future. How can they focus on being a fairy god girlfriend if they have their own lives to focus on as well?
That is an excellent question. How can you focus on being the best girlfriend to the man that you ultimately want to end up with? That's the crazy part is you already know you want to end up with a D1 pro athlete black man. But how could you do that when you're focusing on you? Seems like a silly question, might be rhetorical, but we'll just put it this way. It's because you're only focused on you that you can't get the man that you know you ultimately want. So when you finally finish it all and you've got $200,000 worth of student debt and you make 175K, whatever, and you got mom and kids, maybe not kids, but whatever, but now you're ready to settle down, okay? Now, how do you look on paper? You've got probably more than 200K, 250K, because you probably got another credit card in debt. You are independent. You are not sacrificing anything because you fought for every inch of what you have. Non-sacrificial, okay? You are obviously strong-willed, which is a good thing in a man, but men don't look for that in women. You are a high earner, so you can't give that up, which is a good thing in a man, but men don't look for that in women. Versus Miss Barbie over here who makes 60K, needs help. I don't know, when you say non-sacrificial, I'm thinking like everything you have, you wouldn't change anything because of what you built, versus somebody who's, we would just call them malleable. And as she's comparing these white girls as they're just, whatever, how you say, they get along, peaceful. And it's not even like it's a white-black thing, but this freaking, this narrative that black people carry where they can make something racist and then say it's not racist, but it's just racially recognized, is crazy. But black or white, doesn't matter. Indian, Filipino, and my argument for this, here, let me finish this last one. And she's not a high earner. She's got probably, even if she had 100K in debt, because she didn't finish didn't finish college, and she only earned 60K at work, okay? Here's my argument. It doesn't matter what race you are here, because passport bros prove it all the time. Why stay in America and deal with all of this when I could go to Indonesia, or Thailand, and live off $900 a month, paying for her and her mom, and she treats me like a king, cooks, cleans everything, and loves me, rubs me, sucks me, whatever, all of the things. And I'm in a beautiful country. Okay, so she compares this to white women at college campuses and thinks whatever. But the fact is dudes don't care if you're white, black, or otherwise. What we care about is, are you bringing peace or hell? Okay? Are you glad I'm here, or are you combative? Do you appreciate me? I didn't spell it right, I know. Do you need help? Help goes on the good side of things. We want a woman that wants help. I don't know why women don't understand that. It's because we are the other side, remember? This is us. So over here, no help. Over here, help. Okay? You don't want a man that needs help. We want a woman that needs help. See what I'm saying? I continue over and over again to tell you this. So yeah, we have this racially charged argument that black women are going to be this as they go through college, and white women are going to be this. But this can be a white woman. This can be a chick that wants to be a surgeon. And when she's finished, she's one of those executive high-powered white ladies that goes to surgery and drinks heavily, and she's on those TV shows. You know them, you know what I mean? And like she's got a serious addiction but she's cute enough to still be on the dating market, maybe, or even not. Now she's a cat lady and she makes 400K, but nobody's going to ever actually take her serious because she put her career first, which she's totally allowed to do. But you can't tell men that we're supposed to accept that as what we want. We tell you what we want, just like you tell us. Well, you usually just say, I don't know, but you know what you want. You just don't tell us, okay?
And it's not just about focus, it's also about proximity. What are these women doing outside of class? What are they into? Likely diving into those extracurriculars that are going to propel them forward in their respective goals. SGA, Honor Society, intern programs, maybe even a dual degree program, sororities even. But we all know that process and the priorities for black sororities are a whole lot different than the white ones. And the
I'm literally about to throw up with this black and white comparison. She's listing everything that's so important to black women that they want to do besides pursuing a family at a young age, which is a traditional thing to do. How crazy that is. And then saying, but we all know it's not that important. If it's not that important, then don't do it. Don't waste your time doing something that isn't going to yield the benefits of what you know that you want. Ultimately, you want, apparently, this asshole. So, if you want him, then cater to him. It's that simple. And we are literally 6 minutes into a 34-minute video, and I have to stop now because I think I've beat the dead horse 7 times now, okay? And I'll maybe make another video, and we'll continue going down this. I'll put a a link in the description or whatever, and try to do it somewhat professionally so that you understand what's going on. But the craziest thing, it's just crazy to me that I just don't understand that. I don't understand how you are literally making every comparison of why and what he wants and she wants and you think, and not putting 2 and 2 together to understand that nobody's forcing you to be who you think you have to be. And then you make this claim that, but black women are so oppressed, yet you also make the claim they're the highest educated and most successful. You can't have both claims be true anymore. Like, maybe in the 40s, they were the most oppressed. Now, maybe perhaps they're the most hated on. But that's part of rising. When you become up and coming, when you get a little something behind you, you know you're doing good when you got haters. So congratulations, you got haters. But what you're building is not something that's sustainable, nor should it be passed on if, when you sit back and assess the damages of everything that you've done and you weigh it out, you still wish you were somewhere else. I rest my case.